their rights on suspicion alone, David Cameron might be laying the path for more. Afua Hirsch, Sky News.
Well, joining us now from Sky Centre is the former head of the National Counter-Terrorism and Security Office, Chris Phillips. And here with me are the Chair of the Islamic Human Rights Commission, Masood Shajareh, and the Director of the Andrews and Arnold Internet Service Provider, Adrian Kennard. Welcome to you all. First of all, Masood, what do you think of these proposals?
Well, these proposals, they really are not going to address neither our issue of security and safety, because what is being suggested is people indeed for a limited time their nationality be taken away unless they're willing to sort of be prosecuted or watched. Since when we are asking would-be criminals approval for being prosecuted or indeed watched? We are watching all sorts of people. We are prosecuting people. We never asked them to approve for that. This is
so you say they should just be arrested?
Well, if there is evidence, arrest them, put them through the court, find guilty, bang them in prison, and actually deal with it. This issue of asking them if they're approving to be arrested or indeed watched is ludicrous.
Chris Phillips, what do you think?
Take some kind of an initiative here. We've got a situation where our young people are considering and actually being attracted to a really horrendous action out in Iraq and Syria. And I think what the Prime Minister and the government are trying to do is actually to put people off from going. It's not good enough for us to just sit here and say, well, you know, let them go, let them travel. We need to make sure that they understand there is a consequence for leaving and going to a place where it's really nasty stuff is happening.
Well, aren't there two problems with this? The first is the point that's already been made by Masood, which is, you know, if people have done something wrong, why not just arrest them when they present themselves?
Well, wouldn't it be lovely to have that information? Of course, they're going to a place that's basically lawless. So, you know, the evidence of wrongdoing is quite difficult.
No, hang on, wait a minute. If you're going to be able to do this, give people a choice, we're not going to be able to go into Syria and arrest them. They will have had to have presented themselves in some way.
Well, absolutely. But what we're saying here is that anyone that goes to these types of locations where this horrendous stuff is going on really nowadays should know better and shouldn't be doing this.
And then the second point is, which does seem to be a problem of international law, if you have the circumstances where the authorities have contacted someone and they decline to return to Britain on the conditions laid down for them, apparently they're then made stateless, which is illegal under international law.
Well, there are going to be problems with this without a doubt, and I'm sure the lawyers are rubbing their hands together. But at the end of the day, we have to do something, and I think this is probably obviously the Prime Minister's reviewed this and has had some legal advice that's told him that they're able to do this. But 2 years means that they aren't stateless; they're just stateless for a little while.
I agree something we got to do, but we don't have to do something stupid. The reality is that we go around the world, extradite people to face crimes rather than pushing them. Terrorism is an international crime. You push them somewhere else, they're going to commit it elsewhere.
Hey, what about the internet? Clamp down on the use of the internet by potential jihadis. Is that feasible? Is that practical?
Not really. The sort of filtering that ISPs are doing is easy to get round. It's a little ironic that until recently most people didn't know they could get around ISP filters because they didn't need to, but since the launch of filters on pornography, you now have people advertising little USB sticks you can plug into your computer to run a Tor browser that will let you get past all the filters, and you have Kickstarter campaigns to try and make privacy routers to plug in at home to bypass your filters. So now it's actually really easy for everyone to bypass these filters and know that it's possible.
And are they still then using internet providers who are part of the target of this?
Well, they would just go past that and go out through other parts of the internet. These techniques were developed through US naval research and things like this to make these browsers, partly to allow people like journalists, freedom fighters and so on in countries with oppressive governments to still communicate with the rest of the world. So it's not surprising they work.
It's ineffective, but What about the attitude of the companies providing these services? Controlling them may be ineffective, but surely they should oppose terrorism and murder.
Well, if you're talking about the people actually hosting websites or hosting the actual content, then you need to take action against them if what they're doing is illegal. It's as simple as that. Filtering it out isn't a sensible solution and isn't really a good idea.
Can you, for example, take action, I don't know, against Google if they're hosting stuff that is advocating murder?
Possibly not. The states have much better freedom of speech than we do, so it's quite possible some of this stuff might be legal, hosted in other websites, and so of course they won't take it down.
Chris, it all sounds somewhat impractical, even when it comes to trying to control or move against jihadis on the internet.
Yeah, well, we have a whole new problem here that the Western world haven't really had to face before. We have a situation where people, across the world are attracting others to a really nasty war. Internet providers and Google and otherwise, they make a lot of money out of their systems and their services, and really I don't think it's too much to ask them to at least help the forces of law and order to stop this stuff from going online.
So do you think there should be curbs on the internet?
I think if there's going to be curbs on the internet, we need to discuss it away from the issue of terrorism. We need to actually have a healthy discussion on it. But the reality is that if we undermine real discussion, be it in mosques or schools or elsewhere, we are actually pushing this underground, and if anything, that's a much dangerous place. And this is actually what is happening. I think we need to educate our community and our youth, be it Muslims or other, that they could challenge injustices that they perceive, but they need to use means that is acceptable to all of us. And that is something that needs to be done. Lowering the standard of justice and due process is not going to do anything except alienate more people.
Okay, well, thank you all very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
This is Sky News Tonight. Coming up.